My name is Ursula Darby. I am a public speaker, a certified grief educator, and a psychic medium. And I've been on the front line of grief, spirit, and survival for over 21 years. I'm also a former stand up comedian. This podcast tells the truth about this work, how it started for me, what it's really like, and the parts that no one will say aloud. I'm a skeptic. I hate cliches and the garbage that is in this industry. You won't get that here. This is episode 11. Episode 10, I started talking about how I view this work with the experiences that I've had and how that's changed for me over time. And there wasn't just one thing that kind of fell into place for me because that's just bullshit and that's just not fucking life, is it? So, I mean, if I want the fast track to something, I really wanted it 40 plus years ago. So, and that doesn't happen. I'm not about to be like, oh, here it is. Here's my story. Everything's great. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. Oh my God, let's celebrate this. Oh my God, it's like so cool. Shut up. No, that's nope, not my style, not how I work. And that's crap. That's absolute garbage. So that's just absolute garbage. I'm going to talk to you about what it was like for me starting into, I talked about being in college as a massage therapist, but in Ontario, Canada, massage therapy is, they have really extensive training. So you learn about the body from the cell all the way up to, blood, brain, illnesses, pathology, anatomy, etc. Everything, zero to everything that you see here now. So fortunately for me, I learned a lot from that, and I did really enjoy the profession for quite some time until I didn't anymore. And how it started out for me was that because I'd met several people through that TV show that I was on, the host that was there, and that I did go to some haunting investigations. I went to several different ones and also went to ones independently as well. That I was taught in a certain way of, I was told, don't work alone. Don't work. Something's going to happen to you if you work alone. Don't work alone. That's really bad if you work alone. Don't work alone. I worked alone. Uh, I still work alone. I did still hear people. Hi, if you can see me on camera, still here. And I was told that there were trap spirits, people that were stuck here. Someone who had a sudden death, that they wouldn't know that they died, that they would be stuck in the same space where they were, that they didn't know how to get home, that they didn't know what that would take to get there. And it would take someone like myself or other mediums to be able to help save them and rescue the world. And I believed those things because the information wasn't readily available to me. I really wasn't able to find information about mediumship and where to access that from, and I just felt very limited by it. So when I would hear these things repeated to me over and over and over again, it's hard not to buy into them and believe them. I did at the time until I didn't. And that happened over a very long period of time for me. When I would be called someone would call me and say, listen, there's activity in my home. We're really scared. We don't know what to do. And I would think, oh gosh, what do I do here? And I would do the things that I was taught to do. Some of those skills were really helpful for me. I'm not poo-pooing that at all. Some of those things really helped me get clarity, get some insight, feel a little more grounded. It didn't all happen at once, just from that technique, though. How that changed for me is when I would go to an investigation, I wouldn't notice the things that were repeated to me. I was doing this work on my own. Nothing was happening to me. I wasn't noticing people that were trapped souls that were really suffering and having a really hard time. And I didn't notice any of these things that were repeated to me over and over again. And it does come to mind to say that, well, just because it didn't happen doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay. Okay, cool. See ya. I'm not going to perpetuate a lie if it's not happening. I'm not going to do it. And so I countered it. I questioned it. I started to gain that courage from the experiences that I was having my whole life, but also visiting people's homes, going to people's spaces, talking to them about what was happening to them. And of course I believed some of it, and I repeated it because that's what was taught to me. And then I started to gain my own language around what a haunting was. And hauntings aren't real. Just gonna throw that out there. Hauntings aren't real. They're not movies or TV shows. Moving on. We will get into that. When I began working as a massage therapist and had my letters after my name, I was like, "Woohoo, look what I've done. It's really fantastic." I did not tell my clients that I was also a psychic medium. I just didn't do the crossover. If that conversation came about, it was just out of my own curiosity. If someone was on my table and saying, I had this really spooky experience, I'm like, oh, tell me about your spooky experience. And I might have shared with them, but I certainly didn't share with every single person that came to see me for treatment because that's not the point. That's not why they're there to see me. And I just didn't see the point of doing that. And it didn't sit right with me and it didn't feel comfortable. So I just didn't do it. I didn't say, hey, guess what? I do this thing because there's nothing worse than scaring people. And what I started to notice was that I gained an awareness of what had happened to my client before they came to treatment. So it sounded like this. I get ready, I have my client's file together, I have the treatment room ready, we have music set up, sheets on the table, cleaning stuff, things ready to go. And they would, I'd greet them and bring them in the treatment room, and we'd be talking like, what area do you want to work on today? Are you having some discomfort? And like, oh, I feel great. I'm feeling fine about this, and this. And I wouldn't notice anything physical about the person unless it was really severe. Like if someone was limping in and they said, my back hurts, but they're limping, that doesn't make sense. But there was nothing that was awkward or outstanding or physical that you could see happening in front of me, like a person limping into the treatment room. Nothing like that. I would start to feel like I was getting a headache. I would start to see things in my mind. I talked about seeing in my mind's eye. I would see a red brick building. It was a business building with numbers on the outside. There were black lettering, and it was a red brick building on the outside, and like in an industrial section they were in, and I could see all the parking that was there. Literally, this is what I'm not making this up. This is what it would sound like. And I would see this, and I would see them rolling over on their ankle. So their ankle rolling over and seeing them limp, and then I'd see them having a disagreement with someone, and I could describe what that person looked like. This would be someone in upper management that they worked with, and they were executive of what they do. And even if I didn't know that they were an executive, they hadn't even told me yet. This is what I'm getting. And they had argued with the person, and the person that argued with them was upper management. And they had kind of bad breath and salt and pepper hair and this really weird beard, a collared shirt with stripes. And that's kind of how detailed it would be. And I thought, what do I do with this? Like I feel the headache, but I can't be like, hey, so like I'm a psychic and I'm getting this vibe like I have like a headache. Fuck off. I would never speak that way. But we all know bullshit people that do. I just want to make yourself aware of this so you know who to run from as I tell you this. I try to discern a way to get my client on the table to confirm what I was seeing without giving them any leading information because I'm a massive skeptic. I question everything. Of course, like I've told you, I believed because things were repeated to me. Now I'm starting to question and to discover for myself what this looks like and what the landscape is for me and how my landscape is completely fucking different than anyone that I have met in this industry. Like this is a whole new territory that is wide open, and I've got to discover for myself how to get there. And for me, as I've mentioned previously, it's important for me to teach myself things in layman's simple, easy, clear terms. And become a massage therapist is a profession that is regarded very highly to me. There's I mean, if someone's just listening to me and it's like, oh, you just rub people, like I never heard that phrase before. I mean, you'd be the first person that's ever said that to me. Oh my gosh, you're so creative. Uh, fuck. It's so much more than that with how you're treating a client, all the different methods you can use, the skill sets you have, the illnesses that you learn about people's diagnosis, how that will impact them, what's contraindicated, kinds of ways that they can heal from an injury that's happened, ways that you can help manage their nervous system. Like there's endless things. I mean, it's not everything and it's not the be all and the end all, but it was certainly a profession that I liked because I was really helping people. And so I would look for wording and phrases that weren't leading, because we all know that there's people that are leading out there saying, so who you're married to? Oh, you're married? Are you married? Oh, so are you, how long have you been married for a while? Like, are you married? Like, you've seen these bullshit psychics do that. They're not psychics. They're not psychics. They're criminals. There are real ones out there. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about this. I would talk my client in circles in a casual conversation way. So it would sound like this. Oh, hey, and I'm going to make up the name. I'm just going to make it up. Oh, hey, Barb, listen, it's great to see you. What area do you want me to work on today? Well, upper back and shoulders really kind of bothering me, and I've kind of been grinding my teeth and stuff. And I just, my upper back hurts because I'm sitting a long time in front of a computer at work. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We'll get ready. So listen, Barb, I remember you telling me that you'd moved to a new location, right? A new location with your business or where you were going to with employment. And then she would say, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Isn't that like it's not a high rise, right?" "Oh, no, no, it's a low rise. It's like a red brick building. It's like in an industrial section." And I wouldn't say anything. I would listen. And I'd say, I think you remember, I think you told me about this before, right? It's a walk up. Oh yeah, there's like three flights. The last place I worked in had an elevator, which made it really quicker to get to work. And oh my God, I forgot. I rolled over on my ankle on the stairs when I was coming up to work this morning. I've been kind of limping around all day. It's kind of really achy. And I'd be like, mm-hmm. And then I'd say something like, How have you been sleeping?" "Oh, you know what? I've really had some waking up and throughout the night. And you know what? I actually have a really bad headache right now. It's across my forehead, and I kind of feel like it's in my the right side of my jaw. And I confirm the things that I'd be picking up with them, but I wouldn't say anything. They would just keep saying it. And and I'd say, isn't it new management that you're working with? "Oh no, it's this guy. He's this and this, and he's the executive, and he's the person I report to. Oh, we had this really awful fight today because he wanted this presentation done in a certain way, and I hadn't fixed it." And I'm like, there it is. There's all the moving parts that I saw and I heard. And not only would that happen, there'd be days, not days, a lot of the time, that I would walk into my treatment room to set up the table and set up music and adjust the lighting and grab the person's file, and I would hear and see people in spirit standing in the treatment room. And they would talk to me because their little girl was coming into treatment, but their little girl was in their early 50s and was married and had grown children. And she never talked about spirituality or psychic stuff or anything. So I never told her that her parents were in the treatment room with her while I was massaging her and helping her manage the stress that she had. I remember, I actually remember the client. I can't remember her name, and I would never repeat it because that's completely lacks confidentiality or privacy. And I wouldn't do that. Um, I remember because her parents were in waiting for her. And what do you say to someone, right? You're just like, "Oh, we're going to work on back, neck, and shoulders, and there's some treatment here and some trigger point work, and we're put heat on this area." And the whole time that I'm treating this person, her parents that have died are talking to me. So I have to ignore what her parents are saying to me and answer her because she's speaking to me throughout the treatment, which a lot of people tend to do when they're massage therapy clients. And this would happen over and over and over and over again. And it taught me about readings. It taught me about how the information is given to me in such a clear and simple way when I believed it was complicated from the people that I'd met in this industry because they complicate it, because they don't know what they're doing. And they also like to make it elitist that they're the only one to go to. They're the only one with the answer. They're the only one that knows how to do this. Bullshit. We are born with the skills of intuition and mediumship. And for some of us, it can be a really rocky road. And for me, it felt incredible to confirm those details with the client without being like, so tell me about where you work and what that's like, and right, having them feed me in. And it was confirmation that my intuition was lit up and kind of on fire. And then I would ask myself, I was working professionally and giving readings separately from massage therapy. And for me, what happened was my regular clients got to know what I did, and some of them came for readings, and some of them, in fact, I probably gave away hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free readings to my massage therapy clients. And some of you follow me to this day, and you know who you are. And for me, it wasn't about saying, "Oh, look what I know," or "Look at the cool stuff I do." It wasn't like that. It was more of feeling on my body the stress that my client would have, feeling the emotions, the concern, the emotional distress, the pain that they weren't saying that I was feeling viscerally, vividly, because that's how I read. I feel it like I am them. And I see the way that I see like I am them. No, I'm not possessed. That's bullshit. That's how I see it. And with my hands on them, I would know that. My hands on them or not on them, I would know. But I was plunged into right then and there that person's story, the pain that they were living, the things that they were going through, the suffering that they experienced, not only emotionally, but physically. And for me, not to confirm the things that I knew felt like I was robbing them from healing. It also took from me. It also took a lot of my capacity. It exhausted me. It became too much. And it became too much when it was 95% of my clients. And in fact, one of them, I worked somewhere because when you're a massage therapist in Ontario, Canada, you're self-employed. So even if you worked at a spa, or if you worked at a physiotherapy clinic, or if you worked at a multidisciplinary clinic, you're self-employed. And you don't have benefits coverage, nothing. It's just you doing your thing. And for me, it became exhausting and difficult to do. And I had a lot of physical injuries from it. It's really hard on your body. And for me, it was hard on my emotions, and it was hard on just the sheer impact and influx of information about clients every single day, 5 days a week, over and over and over. Saw them, heard them, felt them. I was reading part time as a psychic medium, and I was working full time as a registered massage therapist and a psychic medium working for free with my clients as a registered massage therapist, as a psychic medium. Are you confused yet? Right? And it became too much. And I knew something had to go. And it had to be massage therapy. And some of my clients never knew my work outside of massage therapy. And I was fired once. I was saying to you that we're self employed. Talk about it like I still am an RMT. Kind of feels like it. I worked at a clinic, and a couple days a week, And they called me over after a treatment with a client and they said, "You're fired." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, one of our clients told us that you're a psychic medium. You're fired." Okay. Wow. It's against the law. In case you didn't know that, but it's totally against the law. But people don't really give a shit, do they? Yeah, I was fired for being a psychic medium. I wasn't working as a psychic medium, I was working as a massage therapist. So people are poop. It was a good time in my life and it was a hard time in my life. The learning curve was really fucking steep. And I paid the price. And my mental health was at risk. And physically, I had a hard time and had a lot of symptoms. And it was an accumulation of everything. And the nightly experiences still happened. The visits still happened. They were still there. And I began to learn that the fear that I had about people in spirit visiting me was because I didn't know what was happening. For anybody looking on the outside in, as I say this to you, you're just like, oh, so it's your people in spirit, the people that you love and care for. They're coming to visit you and they're coming to share things with you and they're coming to give you some guidance. So they must be spirit guides, or this must be a really loving, compassionate experience for you to be able to support you through your spirituality and your intuition and connect you to your family and your friends and to be able to use this gift. Bullshit. That wasn't it. That's a story people tell themselves. Or it is a story that it's BS that they're telling people because they want everything to be in a big red bow and the white picket fence and all that crap. For me, I was frightened because no one in spirit ever approached me and said, "Hi, Ursula. This is who I am. This is what I've been through. This is why I'm here. This is why this is happening. This is how I'm going to help you. This is why I'm here." I always wanted that to happen and it never did. I'm not sure that I expected it to, but the way that people tell their stories, like, "Well, I'm a psychic and this is how it happened for me," just unfolded so beautifully for me. Okay. Stay far away from me, please. Uh, I'm not the bitter, angry person I sound like. I am making sense out of is nonsensical. How's that? Really, that's the only way to look at this. And when I took away all the damaging language, the repeated phrases, when I stripped all that away and recognized that these are people that have died, hanging out with me, visiting me, that aren't telling me anything, that the fear kind of started to slip away from me. Though I started to think that there was something, well, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. Right? There must be something wrong with me, or why would this happen? That's kind of the message that I got from others too about this. Like, well, these kinds of things don't happen. Well, why would it keep happening if this is what's here? And I recognized that I felt resentful. I felt resentful of coming to an end with my profession as being as a massage therapist because of how my body was in so much pain chronically, how I felt really dissatisfied with the profession, how difficult it was. It wasn't just the physical part of it, it was all the intuitive parts and the emotional labor that was involved for me because of how I perceive people. And I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know where to go with it, and I did. I realized that I was resentful for people visiting me in spirit. Mad as fuck at them. mad as fuck at everyone for not helping me. And no one needs to help me. They've never had to help me. I need to sort it through, and I have sorted it through. There's so much more to share with you. This is just kind of like, this is like the iceberg. There's so much more below the water. I was also really careful to not call anyone out in this profession back then. I was careful because I had told myself that I am my brand. So if I say something in defense of myself or to educate others or to inform people, that it could hurt me. And I'm not like other people in my industry. You're not going to meet other people in my industry that tell you that they're a skeptic. You're not going to meet other people in my industry that are just like, this is crap. Why would people say this? Well, people repeat certain things because that narrative fits into a way that they can manipulate people, and it fits perfectly for them to be able to manipulate people. And I want to uncover every single fucking secret, things that are hiding. I want to figure out what the heck's going on. I want to turn it inside out, upside down, flip every single fucking stone to make sense out of things. And I know, you and I know, that there isn't an answer to everything in life. There just isn't. And I didn't settle. I didn't settle. I doubled down. I doubled down. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to This is Ursula Darby. This podcast is the raw truth about grief, spirit, and life with honesty, humor, and no bullshit.